I want to bring up, you said that you got the 2 linebacker tandem, and I know, Zach, you're smirking over there. And
I mean, when we talk about physicality at the linebacker,
there's no one more physical than Roquan Smith.
Yeah.
I don't. There's just nobody. And then PQ is just such a compliment to that. And I think those two as a group, it's unbelievable.
So can I ask you then, because, well, first off, to give the background for everyone that's possibly joining in, welcome again. And if you're new to the channel, like and subscribe here. But Nick, you got to meet Roquan initially, correct me if I'm wrong, when you were at Georgia, correct?
Yes.
When you went back to play football.
Yep. After baseball,
you're walking on and you were thinking maybe, just maybe, you were going to play linebacker.
Yeah. So I originally, I was like, I had a buddy of mine who played linebacker at Georgia at the time. He was a couple years younger than me in high school. And I was like, oh, dude, I can definitely play linebacker at Georgia. And so my dad's like, all right, dude, walk on, And so I went there and I walked on as a linebacker, and we weren't 5 minutes into our first summer workout. And I was like, there's not a chance, because Roquan's right next to me. We're both freshmen. I'm 22, he's 18. And we're doing 10-yard sprints, and I think he finished when I was still getting out of my stance on the line. And that kid's just, he's different. I mean, there's, I've said this, several times. I don't know if there's ever going to be another Ray Lewis, but he's as close as we've ever seen in our generation. And Roquan he's a freak.
Yeah, can you talk a little bit about what his lead, not even on the field stats, just his leadership and intensity in the locker room? What does he bring to a defense like that?
I think one of the things that Roquan does best is he leads by example. That guy got here, week 9 last year, right before we go down to play New Orleans. He's rotating in at the beginning, still doesn't even hardly know the defense. And I remember sitting on the bench where we're watching the defense out there, because when we're on offense, we're usually hanging out on the bench. And the first series that he was in, I think he made 3 of the 4 tackles or something. And Tuck turned to me and he was like, did he just make all the tackles? I was like, yeah, I'm pretty sure he did. Yeah. And I think, Ro just, what he does, the guy got here, he had done more stuff for the community, community events in the first month than people that have been on this team for 5 years or guys that play in the NFL with the same team for several years. And I think that's a testament to who Roquan is as a person. He just kind of, he's got a good heart, and he cares about the people, and he knows he's in a position to help everybody or as many people as he can. I think he puts that out there, and he's doing stuff for the community, and he's leading by example. He's bringing guys with them. He's like, hey, I'm doing this thing next week. You guys want to come down? And, I just think he brings the best out of everybody else, because he's just that kind of guy. I mean, I've known him for almost since 2015. So we're coming up on 8 years or whatever when I first met him. And he's a class act. He's a stand-up guy. And I'm just glad he's on our team, because
I would not want to go against him.
I mean, he's just changed the game for the defense since he got here. And he's made everyone around him better. And that's why he got the money that he got. He earned it. He deserves it. And I'm just stoked for him.
Yeah, I mean, you can pinpoint. You mentioned exactly. You can pinpoint a time when something changes. When Roquan got traded over, there was that moment right there where everything, like a switch, just went off. And I think that's something that for Baltimore was something. If you've grown up watching the teams, it was the Ray Lewises, the Ed Reeds, the Terrell Suggs. It was during that time frame, and that's no knock to anyone that came after that or deleted, but the Ravens were trying to find that. And even what I love is, you mentioned PQ, Patrick Queen's one of my favorite players to watch. And I think that
PQ's a dog.
Well, so he's a dog. And so it felt like when Roquan came here, because I felt it was unjustified that the expectation for Patrick Queen to come in to be what Ray Lewis was. I don't think that was fair.
Yeah, he definitely had there was a lot of expectations that shouldn't have been there. I mean, he's a first-round linebacker. I just think PQ is a different type of player, and I think he's showing that this year. Guy's showing up, making plays all over the field, and he's one of the best, if not the best, linebacker in the league statistically this year. And I think Rowe has something to do with it. Not to say Patrick isn't an extremely good athlete. I think he is amazing. But I think Rowe just got here and brought a little bit extra out of PQ, and now we're seeing it real time.
Yeah, I don't think it's an insult at all to just Roquan's that type of player that elevates everyone around him. So it's not necessarily saying that, you know, Patrick Queen needed Roquan, but when you have a guy like Roquan there, it makes everyone else up their standard, and it just takes people to a different level. Like, you see his leadership in the huddle and on the field, and suddenly it just, everything was going flawlessly. It feels like out there sometimes. And that's where you really see his impact.
Well, you don't have a choice with Roquan.
Yeah.
I mean, you're either going to get up to his level or you're not, and you're going to get out, you know, and Roe he kind of forces guys, not in a bad way. You don't have a choice. Like, when you're around somebody like that, who's the top of what they do, and they're the guy that's working the hardest, and he's like, he loves it. He wants that physicality. He wants to be in someone's face. He's hitting every single play he's in on the pile, whether he's making the tackle or he's jumping on the tackle. That guy's in there all the time, and it's infectious when you see that as a player, and with a guy like that who is at the top, and he's the one that's hustling every play. He's outrunning everybody. He's never giving up on a play. You don't have a choice but to do that. Like, you're like, I'm doing it too. Damn, I'm right there with you. And then you get 11 guys doing that, and you get what we have right now, and our defense is incredible.
Flying.
They're flying everywhere. Guys are making plays. Kyle Hamilton's a freaking beast. Marlon's doing what Marlon does.
I mean,
Matta Beeks is going insane this year. I mean, it's just, and Brody and all these guys. I mean, and Van Noy, and look at Jadeveon Clowney.
Yeah,
he's having one of the best years of his career. And
8.5 sacks.
Yeah, that guy was 1-1 in the draft. You know, I guess whatever year that was, 2014, 2015.
Yeah,
and you know, they're all really good. They're all like first round picks. You know, they're all like the best of the best. But you know, he's Roquan Smith.
Roquan has come into it to allow Patrick Queen to show everyone what he's fully capable of doing. And in baseball, that's kind of what happens, is if you're in the right situation, in the right lineup, and a guy gains confidence, they can hit and do anything that people might not see. And that's what I'm seeing with Patrick Queen, is like the talent, the skills were all there. I just think that people's expectation for him was so negative. And now you have Roquan that sets the tone to be like, hey, I've got this. Go do you, and what you're doing is nothing short of spectacular. And this was a debate going into it. Was Greenlaw Warner versus Patrick Queen and Roquan.
Yeah.
And to me, the linebackers that were dynamite along with the whole team was Roquan and Patrick.